The United Nations have welcomed the Sudanese Armed Forces announcement to extend the current ceasefire for an additional 72 hours and call for its full implementation. As it said, briefing journalists in New York on Friday, the spokesperson for the Secretary General Stefan Dujarric said the United Nations has issued a joint statement on Monday with members together the African Union, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, and the United Nations, as well as the Quad countries, the US, the UK, and the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. Now, details of that in this report by Amadou Kante.
Amidst the ongoing conflict in the North African nation, several, including the United States, have been repatriating their citizens to save them from the hostilities in the country. The country, especially in the capital Khartoum, has resulted in the death of hundreds and many more injured. However, the ceasefire agreement was reached by the rival conflicting military groups along negotiation to allow more exodus of foreign citizens, deployment of humanitarian solutions. Was taken in some parts of the country. The ceasefire was extended for another 72 hours, much to the delight of the United Nations.
A joint statement issued today, members of the Trilateral, which brings together the African Union, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development, otherwise known as IGAD, and the nations, as well as the Quad countries, which are the US, the Saudi Arabia, welcome the announcement by the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces to extend the fire for an additional 72 hours, and they call implementation. They also welcome their readiness to engage in establishing a more durable cessation of hostilities and ensure unimpeded access. On the humanitarian front, we are told that humanitarians are continuing to deliver whenever and wherever feasible, particularly in the area of health.
According to the United General's, the WHO is on standby to deploy several medical equipment and support the affected people.
The World Health Organization, medicines, blood bags, supplies for surgery and trauma care waiting to be delivered as soon as access is safe. Additional cargo of medical supplies is arriving in Port Sudan. Partner operations of 65 health facilities in 5 states throughout Sudan, and they're providing medical consumables, pharmaceuticals.
Mr. Dujarric also said networks are providing support to people facing gender-based violence, and according to the UN Population Fund, the response is now largely focused on remote service provision, and some councillors are offering voluntary support to take remote psychosocial services. Meanwhile, Dujarric also indicates that the UN Refugee Agency has warned that the conflict is having a devastating impact on the civilian population, and that includes refugees and internally displaced people across the country, saying they are working with partners and government to do so. According to UN partners, some 3,000 people crossed the border into the northern part of Central African Republic and are living in spontaneous settlements, and the law explores the possibility of relocating them in Bayrau, far from the border region. Reporting for Africa, I am Amadou Kante.